Well, the biggest thing in the world of film, of course, is the Oscars. But some would argue that the next thing up after that is the BAFTAs, the British version of them, if you will. Now, one of the big movies that everybody's been talking about this year, including for music and maybe for animation, is the movie K-Pop Demon Hunters, a movie that admittedly I don't like that much, but I am absolutely not embarrassed to tell you that I am completely obsessed with the music in it. Absolutely love it. And I'm looking forward to hearing it get performed at the Oscars, and I'm looking forward to them getting at least nominated for some musical Oscars. But you ain't gonna see it nominated or talked about, let alone win anything, at the BAFTAs, because as Deadline is reporting, they've ruled K-Pop Demon Hunters ineligible, and they have rejected Netflix's appeal. K-Pop Demon Hunters ineligible for BAFTA Film Awards despite Netflix appeal over theatrical release after the PIC's streaming launch. The basic gist of the article is this. I guess they have rules that say if you debut on streaming, you're not eligible. We don't care if you get put on some movie theater screens later. If you debut on streaming, you're ineligible. Now, Netflix appealed because BAFTA has some internal rules that they can make some exceptions, and Netflix was kind of hoping to get an exception for it. But BAFTA has said, nope, no soup for you. You debuted on streaming, and you were only on streaming for months, and then you went to theaters, and that's not good enough for our film awards. It makes you ineligible, and they have rejected the appeal. All right. That is interesting. So we're not going to see K-Pop Demon Hunters win any of the music awards over there. But it raises an even bigger question for me. And it's one I've brought up over the years, and I'll be honest with you guys, I still struggle with. Should any Netflix movie be eligible for Oscars? Let me rephrase. Should any Netflix movie that, as the BAFTA rulebook states, should any Netflix movie that does not debut in theaters be eligible for Oscars or BAFTAs or any other types of film awards? And the reason I ask that question, because you might say, but John, a movie is a movie. But here's the part that I've always wondered about. Before Netflix and before streaming, there have always been TV movies. There have always been TV movies. And so theatrical movies, their place to be honored is at the Oscars. TV movies, they also have a place to be honored, which is the Emmys. Emmys is for TV. Oscars is for movies. And so, look, Rob, I don't have there's really not much to say about BAFTA's ruling here. They have a rule. It's in the rule book. You got to debut in cinemas. We maybe can give exceptions, but we don't think this one qualifies. Fine. But again, it raises that question for me. And as much as I absolutely think K-Pop Demon Hunters should get musical nominations at the Oscars, but it raises the question again. What's the distinction then between the Emmys and the Oscars? The Emmys have for decades and decades and decades and decades, all movies that are made for TV get honored at the Emmys. It's always been that way. And no TV movie has ever been given an Oscar. So why does streaming, which is a TV service, you can make an argument it's even more than a TV service because it can also be for my phone, it can be for my tablet and all that kind of stuff. But Oscars, movies, Emmys, TV. Guys, we want to take a second to thank the sponsor of today's video, Zapier. You know, one of the biggest game changers of the past year has been AI. But let's be real, just talking about AI doesn't actually make your day any more productive. What does make it more productive is finding tools to put AI to work for you. And that's where Zapier comes in. Zapier is the easiest way to take AI and plug it directly into the apps and processes that you're already using every day. No IT bottlenecks, no complexity, just results. For me, it's been about saving time on repetitive stuff so I can can focus on the work that matters and I actually enjoy. And it's not just me. Over 3.4 million companies are already using Zapier to streamline everything from sales and marketing to IT and HR. With their AI orchestration platform, you can connect top AI models like ChatGPT or Claude right into the apps you already use. So whether it's automatically enriching leads, coaching your sales team, or even resolving IT tickets, Zapier makes it simple. Guys, join the 3.4 million companies already automating with Zapier and transform how you work with Zapier and AI. Get started for free by visiting zapier.com/Campea. That's zapier.com/Campea. So anyway, Rob, so I guess this brings up two questions. The first question is, what do you think about BAFTA's stance here to say K-pop Demon Hunters is not eligible for the BAFTAs this year, despite the fact that Netflix appealed it? And then secondly, how are you feeling about that whole question about should Netflix or Hulu or Disney Plus or HBO movies, which are TV movies, should they be eligible for Oscars at all? I'm not saying I have a definitive answer. I don't, but I'm wrestling with it. How do you see it?
Well, to me, I've always kind of thought about it as what is the intent, and I think that the intent of a theatrically released motion picture, a movie like that, is approached differently than a streaming film, and more so now the way streaming movies are made. They're playing to analytics. You could make an argument. I mean, look, it's all. Some people are going to say, well, it's all the same. It's things you can watch. Who cares the way you watch them? But I would say the reason something is made, the whole point of giving awards to movies in the first place is that they were considered art. They were considered something that benefited society, benefited human existence. That the movies that were made, I mean, obviously they've only been making movies since the early part of the 20th century. They haven't been around like all the other art forms. It was a new art form, and people eventually recognized, after it really existed for a little less than 30 years, this is art, and we should recognize it as such. And so, when television came in and started to reach dominance in the 50s, they had to make this distinction. People in their minds said, well, movies are still art. Now, however, there is a blurred line, certainly. And when you have streamers that are making movies now that want to release them theatrically, I think the streamers have to make a decision. You can't expect K-pop Demon Hunters, a movie that was designed and built to be streamed. They didn't know it was going to be the phenom that it became. You can't then go retroactively say, well, we put it in theaters after the fact, so why shouldn't it be nominated for BAFTAs? You can't do that. You have to sort of, the idea should be, I mean, K-pop Demon Hunters, for as artistic as I think it is, and it is kind of a triumph in a way. I can understand that. I can understand why Netflix feels that way, but they can't have their cake and eat it too. They need to commit. They need to commit when they buy theatrically released franchises like the Knives Out franchise, and they make Glass Onion and Wake Up Dead Man. You have to treat those like theatrical movies if that's what you want them to be. And if you're not doing that, you don't get the benefits of what theatrically released films that are supposed to have an artistic bent, that are supposed to be considered art. You can't have it both ways. So
yeah, because you're right. It kind of feels like Netflix here is like, no, we're not in the movie industry, but we would like the Oscars and the BAFTAs, please. Then do the things you're supposed to do to win those awards. Put out theatrical films, put them out in theaters, and then benefit as a streaming company when you later put them on your streamer. I don't know why this is rocket science to the idiots at Netflix. I really don't.
I don't either.
But, I say idiots at Netflix, but I am a big fan of Netflix. I've been a subscriber forever, but this part just infuriates me.
I'm a fan too, but you know what? They won't even commit to theatrical.
Yeah.
And yet we're not going to commit to a real theatrical release, but we want to be considered a movie company. And it's like, they've been very clear to say, we're not. And I'm like, okay, so you're only making movies based on your own analytics. You're not even making films with an artistic bent. You literally are making content. And the way it originates is algorithmically based, which means by definition, you're not really creating art. You're feeding an algorithm based on things that have previously existed. Whereas the idea that art comes from something that hasn't existed, that's inspired by everything that came before it. But a human being made that decision, not a computer. So
Anyway, guys, question is for you. What do you think about this? Netflix went crawling, begging, and groveling to the BAFTAs and appealed, please reconsider letting our movie be eligible for your awards, to which BAFTA said, no. It's too bad because I would have liked to have heard those songs sung at the BAFTA Awards too, because I am obsessed with music. But what do you think about BAFTA's decision? And again, the larger context. Historically, TV movies get nominated at Emmys, not at Oscars. Why should things like Netflix or Disney Plus or HBO original films be any different? Why shouldn't they fall under the Emmy category instead of the Oscars? And why doesn't Netflix just do the things they need to do then to make them eligible for BAFTAs and Oscars? Anyway, whatever you guys think about this, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. Hey guys, thanks so much for watching this video. Make sure you like the video, leave a comment, and subscribe to our channel. And don't forget, we have a daily podcast called the John Campea Show podcast, available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or your favorite podcasting app of choice. Go and subscribe to it today so it'll be there when you need it.